Hello? Yes, is Wade there? Yeah, I just wanted to give some feedback on the new 808 Ultra 5s. Yeah. Oh, you have a shoe for our subscribers? What do you mean by that? Oh, you guys want to give away a shoe to the subscribers? Okay. So how do they enter? So they leave their favorite colorway with their shoe size and they're in? Is that easy? Alright, I'll let them know. Thank you. You don't want the feedback? Now let's leave some feedback here for you guys. But starting here in the uppers, they've used a synthetic leather material that's actually very breathable, as you can see here from the mapping. And to be fair, the tongue, good amount of breathability. The eyelets that run down the side of the uppers, no sort of irritation, but it pulls that midfoot in quite nicely. And here in the shoe collar area, they've used this plastic piece that actually wraps underneath the shoe collar a little bit, and that pulls the shoe collar in very nicely. So I don't think there's a need for a heel lock on this, but you know what they've got here is actually good enough, I think. Now on the head of the tongue itself, they've got a very nice little, I guess, hologram that they've stuck on or stitched on. And you don't see that very often on basketball shoes, but it's a nice little addition. But overall, the playability of these uppers is quite nice. You know, it's not so substantial that it's just stiff and solid like the Hardens, for example. Super playable, super pliable as well, and to be fair, it actually conforms quite nicely to the feet. So I did enjoy these uppers, and props to them for making such a breathable and playable upper. Now as a podiatrist, there's not many shoes that tick these many boxes, especially when it comes to the midsole and the cushioning. Now their cushioning is this drop-in midsole, which is super plush, quite substantial, but it actually compresses quite nicely in those high pressure points. But for the midsole of the actual 808 V5s, we've got a nice carbon plate that runs all the way through, and it provides a good amount of responsiveness, especially for those front and back movements. This shoe does perform really well. Now in terms of the torsional twisting, you do get a little bit of torsional twist, but I think its better performance is when you're running straight and back. Anyone that's a quicker guard would enjoy this shoe quite nicely. Any shifty players, nimble players will really enjoy the court feel, especially because it's a very well balanced shoe. This shoe actually at the moment is probably my second favorite shoe at the moment to play in terms of the midsole, because of how well they got that balance right. So I thought the New Balance 2-way V5s weren't going to be matched for a while, but these added a carbon plate and they've done even better than the 2-way V5. So they've done a really good job in terms of getting that balance striked very well. Now they've got Super Boom in the shoe, and they've got this drop-in midsole, and together it's quite a nice combination. Now for the traction, we've got GCU rubber and a combination of tough RB rubber, which both performed very well on an indoor surface. You do get a little bit of slippage on a dusty court, so you may need to wipe every so often, but it didn't pick up too much dust, which was nice. Now for me, on an outdoor surface, I think these may not perform the best because the grooves aren't the deepest, but on an indoor surface you'll get good bite. Just remember to dust off every so often and you shouldn't have any problems. So this rubber is actually quite interesting. I think if they just made the grooves a little bit deeper, it would be very nice, but it's got a very nice feel to it, especially when you're doing those hard stops or those sudden movements. So quite a nice traction. It's got a good nice lateral flange that helps with those lateral stops, but that's one thing I guess I realized. The two different rubbers have a different feel to them. So depending on where you land on that lateral movement will depend on how fast you stop, but they do have different densities. So just keep that in mind when you're stopping on the front of the shoe versus right on the tip there. They do kind of stop a little bit different. That's one thing I noticed, but overall the traction was quite nice. Probably not suitable for an outdoor court. Stick to indoor courts with this type of rubber and I think you shouldn't have a problem. Now for the fit, I went down half a size just to get that nice fit, because I think these run a little bit long, but in terms of heel slippage, no heel slippage whatsoever. I had no problems in terms of actually getting a nice snug fit here in the back. Because it has a good amount of cushioning, it actually holds onto that heel bone quite nicely. The other thing is in the rear foot here, you've got a few counters. So you've got this plastic heel counter and you've got this carbon fiber counter that runs in the middle of both these plastic heel counters. But overall, there's literally no movement in that heel area. Very nice containment for those torsional twists and those side-to-side movements. Very nice stability here in the rear foot. Now overall, with the 808 Ultra 5s, I think they've done a really good job of keeping it lightweight, but also nice and responsive with a good amount of cushioning. Now you could always change out the midsole cushioning, but that drop in midsole is very nice to feel under the foot. It just takes a little bit of getting used to. Now you guys can pick up a pair. If you like, I'll leave an affiliate link down below. Or if you want to enter the giveaway, just leave your favorite colorway and your shoe size. You guys will be in the run. I just think they've done a really good job with this one. So good on you, Way of Wade, and thank you for listening to the feedback. I just, yeah, I'd like to see a few different colorways to see how they perform compared to this. Now there's a playlist I've left up here. You guys can have a look at some of our other footwear reviews, and if you have a specific shoe in mind that you want to see a review of, leave it down in the comments as well, and I'll have a look through all the comments to make sure we've covered everything. So thank you guys.